Alright guys, welcome back to OTL StarCraft. Today I bring you a game between vileHasHe and oTLTada, which suggests by both of the player name they are in Team OTL and Vile Gaming. Now this is a ladder match between the two players spawning on this map, Backwater Clutch, a somewhat balanced map in my opinion. For Terran and Protoss player, there is, well, every time I try to analyze a map, I try to see how you take your first expansion and your third base. Now there is a choke that shares the both of the base. However, that is kind of tiny for a Terran to kind of large for Protoss player to force field off, which I don't really like as a Protoss player. But since it defends two of your base, it's a relatively good choke. Or you can just stay here. Most players just kind of stay here and defends both of their choke very well. Also paying attention to that back door, kind of a side door rock. So I'm not sure how to pronounce his name. It's oTLTada. I'm just gonna call him oTLTada every time. So Tada right here on the bottom left location against vileHasHe, which is a really strong Terran player. Now one little story about vileHasHe is that he was going to his name was going to be HASH without the E. However, Blizzard, apparently this is a name for a drug, so Blizzard doesn't let him to register this name, which he have to add a E at the end, which some people confused with hashe, or how to correctly pronounce this word. Anyway, back into the game, oTLTada seems like he doesn't have much of a luck. A coin flip is relatively not lucky, and although he does scout the player in the last base possible, he can still see that the opponent is going for a gas. That's all he sees. Like right now, there's no, you can't really infer any kind of other build out of this. That's all he sees. A normal gas, a marine. That's it. There's no 2 racks, there's no gas this expand, there could be 2 racks just with gas though. Anyway, right here oTLTada putting down a relatively early second gas for a faster robo. This is a common build that is used by the Protoss player. I think, wait, he skipped a Zud? Looks like this is kind of a really early robo build. You are not able to put any kind of pressure with this kind of early robo, but the really good advantage is to get that fast observer out. If you can have observer in the opponent base, you are just set up to do any kind of counter play, like just really able to see what the Terran player is going to do. Fast ops 2 gate expand is really prominent for PvT until like recently, where people start to experiment with more gateway heavy army composition in the early stage of the game. Tada trying to poke out Brim with this stalker and able to see that there's not really much. Like right here he sees a bunker with a marine, which kind of symbolize that there is some sort of tech coming up, to which right now is going to be a Hellion drop on the side. And if he can get that observer into the base, he can prepare for this kind of any kind of tech openings or harass based opening from the Terran player. Anytime you see a really low gas count in the front and you scout his refinery relatively early, you should be prepared for any kind of tech right here, which the Protoss player has a really good idea of what is going to happen in the later stage of the game. He doesn't really caught this. Where's the observer? I think I missed the observer. Why is he hiding over here? It's really safe, but it's not gonna give you much information. I would prefer to have it like right here, which drops can happen like right now. However, he is pretty much set for these defense, moving all these sentry and stalker down on the side, able to pick that drop as soon as possible as it comes in. Now, able to use that. If you have information on the other player, you can just take your expansion. So safe. There's no luck based decision. Like right here, his expansion is really safe. There's no way, like he knows, he has the information that Terran is not going for a early barrack build, heavy barrack, heavy bio build, so he can just take his expansion, and there's not really going to be any pressure coming unless except this harass. Right now, really smart, really not pulling all of his stuff onto this natural to get rid of those Hellion, because if he did, the Hellion can just swing around back, or well, it's just a really good play, solid by whoa. Hang on a minute, all these all these Marine aiming for that observer. It's always good to have a scan if you can. Whoa. That was just the Raven. I guess he didn't really want to wait for the opponent to see his Raven, because this is such a critical unit composition. If you know you're dealing with any kind of tech lab with starport with tech lab, it's going to influence on your army position a little bit if you want to counter it perfectly. But right now, oTLTada is just trying to get all his army up, making those Colossus and the Gateway army. Later on, probably a Forge 4 upgrade, which is just a really solid way for pros player to have solid setup in the mid game. More Banshee coming in. This, wow, the Observer suicide himself again into the Mass Marine and the Raven. Not paying too much attention on right there over there. However, he does have another observer on the way. Usually we see that because pros player doesn't want to cut time into robo production time, they favor only two observer at the least. However, we can see a third observer going down, making sure that there is nothing here, because there could be something here, and which he is almost going to scout this drop coming in, and that's just such unfortunate for the pros player right here, not being able to scout much with that observer. However, because of he is building this building in such a great shape, the Terran player only did 1 probe damage to the putting down extra guys in the gas is going to make sure that later on, if this gas get harassed, he doesn't have to add an extra probe into this gas, which is I was just joking. Anyway, get back into the game. The Terran player is getting this kind of slightly techy, but is not as solid unit composition. Every time you have this kind of composition, you really have to rely on getting engaged in the right position, because if you are relying on your pros, if you are relying for your point defense drone to take in effect and absorb all the stalker fire to deal with your Banshee, you really have to engage at the right position, or else they can just back away and nullify your point defense drone. So against this kind of play, mobility will be an issue for the pros player. You really have to kind of find a way to abuse mobility to force the engagement down somewhere else, so that later on you can deal with the Banshee.